Hey, what's going on, guys? This is Rob of Rule2R Review. Welcome back to the channel, and today I want to discuss a little bit of Nintendo's fall and holiday for 2018, why it's a little bit different than recent years, and what that might mean for the Switch. Now, before we get into the main topic, I have to say one thing I am super excited about today, because it is the day that this beauty finally released on the Switch, Dark Souls Remastered. I have been waiting for this for so long. Most of us have, because as we all know, way earlier in the year, in May, it launched for the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One, and the Switch version got delayed. And it got delayed, and we waited, and finally it was told that we'd get it in October, and it's finally here, and I'm so excited, you guys. Huge Dark Souls fan, huge Bloodborne fan, and in a weird twist of fate, this is the game that I have the least experience with. Dark Souls 2, Dark Souls 3, and Bloodborne I have a lot of experience with. So this, on top of being a remaster, is going to almost feel like a brand new game for myself. Not to mention having it portably on the Switch, which I'm just so pumped for. So this is really, really great, and I'm so glad it's finally here and I get to start playing this tonight. However, I have a weird bonus piece of news that I think you guys are going to like. And it's, oh, what is this? It's a second copy of Dark Souls for the Nintendo Switch. And it's completely ridiculous why I have this game. So essentially, I'm not really going to go into the fine details, but at the end of the day, I made a mistake or two, and it turns out that Amazon actually just sent me 2 copies of the game. I did not expect that. I had to make some phone calls and have some chatting with Amazon to kind of find out what happened. And at the end of the day, I had the opportunity to keep this or not keep this. And I ultimately decided, you know what, I'm not even going to go through the headache and the hassle. I have a second copy of this game now. And it really didn't take me too long to realize what I should probably do with this accidental mistake extra copy of this game I have. And I think it would be to do my first and probably only giveaway to you guys that I've ever done. So yeah, Dark Souls for the Nintendo Switch, you guys, will be the first time I've ever done a giveaway for the channel. It's not really my thing to kind of do giveaways. I mean, you know, I got nothing against it. It just never worked with kind of what I was doing with YouTube. You know, as a side thing, you guys know, I do YouTube on the side. So I never really thought about doing a giveaway, but now I have this. And so I might as well, you know, use it to my advantage to a degree, maybe bump some subscribers for a small period of time, and I can finally give back to you guys. I mean, I just hit my 10,000 subscriber milestone last month. You know, it took me 4 years and 10 months to do it. And so I might as well do something to give back to you guys. I have this extra copy. I could give it to a friend of mine, but it's like, I'm going to give it back to you guys. So I'm not a pro when it comes to these contests and stuff, so I think what I'm going to do is I'm at like something like 10,272 subscribers right now. So if we reach 10,500, so not a very lofty goal, if we get another 250 subscribers for the channel, I'm going to give this away to somebody. And the only requirement will be that you're also following me on Twitter. And so once we pass that 10,500 mark, hopefully in the next couple of weeks or a month, I obviously don't move very fast here. Once that happens, on that next video, I'll tell you guys what you need to do in order to possibly win this copy of the game. And I'll send it to you and give you like a nice little thank you card and stuff for being a subscriber and following me on Twitter and all that fun stuff. So Dark Souls on the Switch, if you want a copy of this, my first and only ever giveaway. I mean, it is a sealed... It's a sealed copy of the game, so it's pretty cool. If you guys want it, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and follow me on Twitter. And once I hit that next milestone at 10,500, I'll do a giveaway. Anyway, that fun stuff aside, let's talk about the topic at hand, which, like I said, is the 2018 holiday year for Nintendo and for the Switch. And the main reason I wanted to talk about it is because, unfortunately, what I see is just not a super exciting holiday. And I think, you know, many other people have maybe noticed this or shared this sentiment as well. And I know you guys have heard me talk about in the past how I feel like, as a whole, 2018 for Nintendo and for the Switch hasn't been that exciting. I think they took a little bit of a dip and slowed down their pace in terms of, you know, super high profile, really high quality game releases, especially on the first party front. There have been a few games throughout the year, of course, and there has been some pretty decent third-party games, to be fair. When you look at Wolfenstein 2 making it over to the console, of course, the massive Project Octopath, an exclusive third-party RPG for the Switch from Square, that was a big deal and easily one of the best games of the year across any platform. So some things have gone okay, but as a whole, when you compare it to 2017, the launch year for the Switch, and even some of Nintendo's best years in the past, it really doesn't compare. And so considering all of that, a slow 2018, here we are now, like mid to late October. We're pretty much already in like the fall shopping season. We know the holiday shopping season is starting really soon. It's like pretty much a month until Thanksgiving, which means Black Friday out here in the States is going to happen really soon. The absolute pandemonium and chaos that is that holiday. I actually hate that holiday, and I hate the videos that circulate every year once Black Friday happens. It shows how completely horrible and materialistic humans are. But that being said, it is still an important shopping day. It's very important in the gaming industry. It'll be important for Nintendo, as well as all the games that they're releasing in October, in November, you know, the big one, of course, we know in December. And when you look at even the holiday season for the Switch this year, what's interesting is it's easily the best period of 2018 for the Switch, but it's still not great. It's still lacking. It's one of Nintendo's least exciting in a long time, like I've said. And I guess I kind of wonder what that's going to mean for Nintendo and for the Switch. You know, the main thing I think of is unit sales. What is it going to do for the Switch in terms of sales? And I don't usually talk about this kind of stuff, but I did find it interesting and obviously sparked this conversation in my brain to have this video and conversation with you guys, because Nintendo's been pretty vocal about what they've been trying to do with the Switch in terms of sales and giving us all these different stats and metrics. You know, last year, every time the Switch hit a new milestone and broke a new record and became the fastest selling console in the US in the first 12 months ever, they were really happy and proud to start talking about that stuff and sharing those milestones and those numbers, and I thought that was great. I mean, I was happy to see it. They hit like 15 million in the first like 10 or 11 months or something, which is crazy, even outpacing like the PS2 and the PS4, which is pretty cool. And then, of course, they very famously said our projections for year 2 are an additional 20 million Nintendo Switch units. And of course, year 2 going from essentially, you know, March 2018 to March 2019. I believe their fiscal year, second year, is what they were talking about with the extra 20 million. And it's like, that sounded great. And coming off of the pace of sales and the excitement that the world was having around the Switch, the positive reception, all of the incredible games coming off of Zelda, Mario, Xenoblade, Splatoon, you know, XYZ, so many great games. I think a lot of us felt pretty excited to know that, man, Nintendo believes in the Switch so much and has been seeing so many good sales and great records being broken, like I was just discussing, that they think that they can sell another 20 million in year 2. That's insane. They were hoping to have, you know, between 35 million units sold in the first 24 months on the market. That is incredible. That really would have been great. And so now here we are again, coming up to the fall shopping season. And while I know we don't have like the hard worldwide sales numbers, I think it's pretty apparent to most of us that while the Switch is still doing very well, it is absolutely a success. It still has a lot of positive momentum and is doing very, very well. It's clearly not matching maybe that pace and tempo that Nintendo was hoping, that they were projecting. I can't imagine they're anywhere near that 20 million, you know, second year sales mark right now. That doesn't mean it's a bad thing or a failure, but I can't imagine that they're anywhere near it. And so now we come into the final 3 months of the year, which is the most important sales period for all companies, all industries, all consoles in the video game space. This is the period where if you're going to sell your hardware like crazy, it's going to be now. It's going to be October, it's going to be November, and it's going to be December. And so what does this mean with a slow holiday and Switch sales? So for me, it obviously comes down to the games. That's the whole crux of this conversation and why the Switch would or would not sell really well. It's obviously, for the most part, going to be the games. And, you know, I guess if we look at the few games that I think they're going to ride into next month and into Black Friday, there's not many. I mean, what came out this month in October that's a big deal? You have Super Mario Party, not a huge game, not a huge hit, not the kind of thing that's going to move units and really become a compelling piece of software that's going to make the Switch the most talked about console for the month or for the year. I know it's supposed to be a fine game, I'm not dissing it, but it's not a super high profile game. It's just one of the big games Nintendo has this year. So you've got Super Mario Party, not Super Mario Odyssey. Dark Souls, of course, launching today, but of course, this also launched for other platforms. 5 or 6 months ago. Starlink just came out, a very big game, a lot of attention, a really good game I'm mostly enjoying so far. Obviously, the Switch version will have the most sales and the most attention. So those are 3 like medium-sized games. Even Super Mario Party, guys, I'm gonna state it as a medium-sized game when it comes to a holiday. Those are 3 medium-sized games. 2 of them are multi-platform. Only 1 is first-party to carry October. Don't think it's going to make a huge impact in Switch sales. Next month doesn't have much, but it does have one really big thing. If I'm remembering right, I think November is when Diablo 3 is going to launch for the Switch. So, hey, that's great. I'm picking it up. I can't wait. But that's one of the few big games. I know Civilization is going to launch. I don't think that's going to be a huge hit. That's a very old game. And then, of course, we know Let's Go Pokemon, the Pikachu and the Eevee games. Those are going to launch in, like, what, mid or late November? I can't remember the exact launch date now. I want to say the 19th, but I could be way wrong on that. Either way, those are the big November releases, and one of only two tentpole releases Nintendo has for the Switch this holiday. And to be fair, that is going to make a huge impact. Those games are going to sell like crazy, and they're going to move units, and Nintendo has like a Pokemon or a Pikachu-themed Switch bundle for the game that is absolutely going to sell very well. So that is the first glimpse of really strong Switch sales, I think, that we can see based solely on like holiday titles and holiday hype. And then, of course, we got the motherlode, the big daddy, the one we're all waiting for, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, launching a few weeks later on December 7th. Now, clearly that is going to be the biggest and best seller for the Nintendo Switch this year and this holiday. Probably going to be one of the best-selling games in the entire industry, let's be real. Nintendo's really high-profile first-party stuff sells that well. Look at the sales for Breath of the Wild and Mario Odyssey, and you can see what kind of numbers they can achieve, and they rival the likes of some of the other biggest players in the industry from other companies and third parties as well. And there is another bundle for Smash Brothers. So between bundles for Pokemon and the hype for Pokemon, and bundles for Smash and the hype for Smash, they've got 2 tentpole moments, 2 tentpole releases that are going to do huge and going to drastically help sell the Switch like crazy for those periods throughout the holiday. So thank goodness, they're definitely going to, you know, I don't want to use the word save, but they're going to really assist the Switch with public perception being positive. Everyone's got to run out and buy them. Everyone's got to get these games. And that is going to be great. But when you look around those 2 games, like I said, the other few games that I mentioned, games like Civilization, Diablo, even my baby Dark Souls, these aren't going to make huge dents and impacts on sales and on the Switch momentum or unit hardware sales. They're just going to be like medium-sized games that launch and they do okay numbers, but they're not going to make a splash. And I think what also kind of hinders the Switch this year is, you know, something we're kind of used to when it comes to being a Nintendo fan, let's be real. You know, it's another year where the other big third-party tentpole games just aren't coming out on the console. We're still not getting Call of Duty, we're not getting Red Dead, we're not getting Battlefield, we're not getting, I don't even know what other big third-party games that I'm not thinking of, but there's probably another 2. Assassin's Creed, you know, a true Assassin's Creed Odyssey didn't launch on the Switch. These are games that I was really hoping this year we would start to see come to the console. And I'm not even interested in most of those games, but they're huge titles that people love and would sell well and would go so far into bolstering confidence and sales and excitement around the Switch, strength in third-party relations. It would be awesome to see those. And unfortunately, it's just yet another holiday in a long string of holidays where most of those big games, unfortunately, are not releasing on the current Nintendo console. And so usually Nintendo relies on a couple of huge first-party releases. And like I've already said here, we really only have Smash and Pokemon. Thank goodness those are huge games, and so like I said, they are going to help. But you know, I think the larger problem is showing here, and so it makes me just kind of realize that this holiday, this slow release holiday, is kind of just like the final exclamation point on the long, strange, and curious year that is 2018 for Nintendo and for the Switch. And I think it's strange and curious because while it's been, like I said, extremely slow in terms of releases, we had a bunch of great games last year, we've got a bunch of great games next year, but this year squished in between really just had kind of a lot of nothing for the most part with a few bright spots. You had this slow year, but then you still had strong sales. Like I said, it's easily going to be the second best selling hardware throughout the entire year of 2018, no doubt. Far more than the Xbox One, far more than even the 3DS. PS4, I would be shocked if it wasn't the #1 selling console throughout this year, but I'm willing to bet that the Switch was keeping pretty solid pace with it all year. So that's why it's so weird. Not a lot of games, but still pretty decent sales, yet a slow holiday. And I just don't know how it's going to affect the sales for the console over the holiday. I assume while it's going to be good, I think it's going to be slower than Nintendo anticipated and slower than they wanted. Maybe Nintendo thought that they could take a slow year in terms of game releases in year 2 and still keep the same momentum of sales that they had in year 1. I mean, they must have thought that if they projected an additional 20 million units sold. As far as I know, and I am not the numbers guru here, I'm just going to throw out the last thing I remembered hearing. I believe in the summer, like June or July, they had reached 20 million units sold. So I feel like we can probably guesstimate between like 24 and 27 million. I mean, I'm just throwing numbers out there. I'm not quoting anything. This is just my guess right now. I would say here in mid-October, they're probably around 24, 25 million, maybe as high as 27, but probably more like 24, 25 million lifetime sales worldwide. And I think that that's incredible. Let's make no bones about it, you guys. Those are great numbers, very strong sales. They're still doing very well, but they were probably hoping to already be at around 30 million as of right now. So if my numbers are anywhere close, it means that they're falling pretty far short from what they thought they could do this year, while still not having a lot of games. And like I said, the holiday season and everything happening right now, the lack of a bunch of huge games, the only one I'm excited for is Smash at this point. I think between Starlink and Dark Souls, I've picked up my last Switch games for the year, or maybe I'm going to get Diablo. But other than that, that's it until Smash, and then 3 weeks later, it's already going to be next year once that happens. So it's just a weird holiday that to me kind of started this interesting talking point, about Nintendo still having a great year, but still a slower year, and, I just don't know what they were thinking with that 20 million unit goal. So, I don't know, man. Those are my feelings and my thoughts. I thought it was pretty interesting. Like I said, I'm not really a sales numbers guy. I find it interesting, but I rarely have ever talked about it on the channel. I have talked about it on podcasts, to be fair. I've been on many podcasts, and it comes up a lot on podcasts. But for me, Rule of 2 review, not usually a topic of conversation. But I started to look at this holiday, for Nintendo. I got Starlink. I just get Dark Souls. I know Smash is coming in a couple months, but I'm looking at everything else around it, and I was like, man, Pokemon and Smash is it. Super Mario Party ain't going to make a dent. Project Octopath is already a few months old, not going to be a big holiday title. They've got 2 opportunities to have big pushes in hardware sales, and I think that they will be successful individual pushes, but the overall scope of the year is just going to be, I'm assuming, way under par for what Nintendo was shooting for, and I just find that interesting. So, hey, you know me. I believe in 2019. I believe in the power of future promises of like Metroid Prime 4, for example. I'm not a Pokemon fan, but I know the power of next year's Pokemon game and Animal Crossing. So I know that Nintendo and the Switch are going to be fine. 2019 could be the best year they've ever had. Very, very excited for next year. I just find 2018 to be curious and very strange. So, I don't know. Those are my random thoughts on this topic. I would love, of course, to hear what you guys have to say. Please share your thoughts about the holiday season, the games you're excited for, the games you wish we were getting that we're not, what you think of sales, are they going to be good or bad, anything at all. And, of course, one last reminder, my first and only ever giveaway for Dark Souls Remastered on the Switch. This is a rare opportunity, so please, consider subscribing to the channel if you're not right now. And once we hit that next 500 goal, I'm going to do a giveaway. And I mean, I never ask for subscribers. If you think about it, guys, I never say that. I'm never, smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, ring the bell. Again, nothing against it. All of my friends and all my favorite YouTubers, that's how they roll. And I think it's great. They see more success than I do for the most part. But I never do. So I was like, hey, this is an opportunity for me to literally ask you guys to subscribe to the channel. And I get to actually give something back to you guys. For anyone who wants to step in to Dark Souls and see what this stuff is all about, man. But hey, I got my copy. I'm going to edit this video and actually play it for the evening. I can't wait. And that's it. So thanks as always for tuning in, guys. This is Rob of Rule of 2 Review, and I'll catch you next time on another video.